Okay, here we go. Let's do some stripping some. Let me turn off TV or mute it here. There we go, and that way we don't have no competition. But I went ahead and stripped this part over here. This is the main part of the chest. Back over here, you can see it. Got rid of the red. There was a yellow underneath, and it got rid most of the red, yellow too. But this is just kind of the leftover stain that the yellow left on this wood. So we'll just paint over that. But I use stripper to get it off. Now, you can either use stripper or you can sand it off. Both have advantages and disadvantages as far as I'm concerned. The stripper I use is this, what's it called? Tough strip. And this stuff costs about 20 bucks a gallon. I was lucky to find it at a estate sale. See, it kind of beat up and bloated out. I guess it got too hot at one time. I think I picked them up for a couple dollars a piece. I found two of them. So you can use a stripper, or you can sand. If you sand, there'll be a lot of dust. You got to worry sometimes if it's lead-based paint. Usually anything older than what, about 1979, you know, around 78, something like that. It's probably going to be anything older than that. It's probably going to be lead-based paint. So you want to make sure and wear a good mask. If you did that. Stripper is, you don't have to worry about the paint, but it's messy. You need to wear eye protection, gloves. I'm wearing this smock today just to protect some clothes I have on here that are better than, you know, normal. Usually I wear just old shirts that I don't mind if I get something on, but this one's a little bit nicer, so I put this on. My wife will appreciate that. And so basically I just get a cup, pour some of that stripper in it, get me a cheap, I think they call these chip brushes, maybe that's what they call them. Just a cheap old brush, and you just brush it on there. Brush that stripper on. You don't have to, I mean, you want a decent amount on there, but it doesn't have to be super thick. You just brush it on there. Nice coat. And you just let it set for a few minutes. A lot of times you sit here long enough, you wait long enough, it'll start bubbling up. And then it's just really easy to just run your scraper through there. This is what I got off that other one. The bottom part of the chest. It's icky. I mean, it's the drawback using stripper is that there's a mess involved, and you need to protect yourself because this stuff will burn your hands, burn your skin. I've done it plenty of times, forgetting to put a glove on, and it'll burn you. Also, you should be in a well-ventilated place. If you're not in a well-ventilated place, you might want to use a respirator, or if you're susceptible to that kind of stuff. It's pretty, my little shop here is pretty good, pretty ventilated, got air conditioner running and everything, so I should be pretty good shape. And so, okay, starting to bubble up here on top. It'd probably be hard to see on the camera, but this area here is already starting to bubble up. The paint is. So what I usually do is just to get my scraper. You might have one that's designated for this because it's also going to get kind of yicky. And you just go along here, get your scraper, and it just peels off. is. Comes off fairly easy. Most of the time, depending how thick you put it on there, you'll get one layer off. I've stripped some furniture, some chest of drawers once that had like 4 layers of paint on there. They had painted it all sorts of colors. The last color was pink, and it took a little while. You can always come back after you get that first part peeled off. Put you a little bit more on there to get some of this that's left. Once again, you got to set and let it do its business here. So as you can see, I put trim piece along here on this edge. Got that done. I'm probably going to use this board. This is left over from that blonde wood plywood, 1/2-inch plywood that I put on the top. I'll probably cut it in a couple of pieces here and put it in here and glue it, nail it in here, so that will give a little bit more support to this top piece. It's probably all right the way it is. I think it would probably hold up most people who sit on it would probably be fine. Someone that maybe weighs, as much as I do. If you flop down on it, who knows? But we'll just brace it up a little bit more. So here we go. Second layer. There's some more coming on. Now, you want to try to get in between some of the little places in the wood here, the little divots and stuff, and give it even more clean. Let me get some steel wool here. I think this is let's see, this is odd or double odd. Let's see. This is 2. Odd, double odd. The odd and double odd's fine, and it goes up to 3, I think. This is 2, so it's pretty coarse. You just come in here and really wipe that good. This steel wool. We'll get even more off. It's leaving that yellow hue on this wood. I know much I can do about that. Just have to paint over it. Okay, see, that was what it looked like to start with, and now it's like that. There's still that yellow, kind of left it a little hue. It's going to be, unless I got in there with some really coarse sandpaper and really sanded, it's probably never going to go back to the original wood color, especially in these places around knots where there's gaps there in the wood where the yellow gets involved and gets in there. You're hardly ever going to get that out. So I've got to finish this. Sand it some more. I'll brace that lid. I've already taken some of the hardware I'm going to use and I painted it black. So it's going to have black handles, black hinges on it. I've been looking at colors that I have. I really don't want to go blue. I've got a lot of blues. I have some kind of grays, or kind of a brownish gray I may use on that. I've got some of that, but I got to finish this, stripping this up, get it all sanded again, cleaned up. Get my flooring that I'm going to put in the bottom. Get that ready. Paint the inside, outside. So we're getting close. Getting close. So get the rest of this stripped off, sanded, good cleaning, and then sanding, and we'll be pretty close, ready to finish this up. So let me get the rest of this stripped, and then we'll get back with you. Okay, we're back. As you can see, I gave it a little paint job. I was looking for more of a gray color, and I painted it that color, and it, oh boy, it didn't really look that good, I didn't think. So I had this can of green that I'd got and never used, and I thought it might be too Christmassy green, but I think I'm going to go with it. But the thing we got to do now is figure if I'm going to leave it like this, or if I'm going to scuff it up in places, try to make it look that shabby chic look. But I put little ornaments on it to kind of spice it up, and painted my legs black. I put handles on it. These are handles I've gotten from old furniture that I refinished and made look more modern with modern hardware. And so I kept some of these, but in this case, I'm making it look older. I think it looks more of the part that I'm trying to do with the furniture. And then on the back, I put some black hinges on it. So it's green with black accents. But there's one thing that I had to do, and that is I had to put some of these supports on it. You know, the lid is heavy, especially since I put a new top on it and this trim work on it. It increased the weight. So, you know, you don't want it to be where it raises up and slams down and slam on somebody's fingers. So what I did, I went down to the hardware store, and they had a couple different types of lid supports. One of them is a folding support, which it just folds up and locks into place, and then you have to, you know, knock it out the lock position and drop it down. The other type of support is called a friction lid support, and as you can see, I put one here on the left side. Now these supports usually always come with the left side and the right side, so you got to watch for that when you buy them. You don't buy two lefts or two rights. But this way, it'll come up and hold, and then you let it down. It goes down, and what you do, there's a little washer, a little nylon washer in here, and you screw it tight. The tighter you screw it, the slower the lid will come down. Okay. Now it doesn't work real great with just one. That's why they always have two to give it a little bit more support. Okay, and usually they have the instructions on the back how to do it. But in this case, the instructions show just a flat lid, okay, to attach the top of this support to. Well, in my case, I don't have a flat lid. As you can tell, it's not flat. So what I had to do is come along in here and add these little blocks, a little block here on this side, to be able to attach this support to it. And I just took me a piece of wood, you know, painted it. I'm going to set it right up there and attach it with some glue and a couple of screws. And that'll give me the surface I need to attach this bracket here on the right side. So they give you the instructions on how to do it and how many inches to come over and drill your hole here, how far up here to drill to attach it, and they show a 70-degree the lid to be at 70 degrees. Okay, and so my daughter got me this little protractor angle finder a few years ago as a stocking stuffer, I think. And so you take it, I just took it 70 degrees, brought it in here, found where my angle was 70 degrees, and then I just propped it up with this stick, and that's how I attached my support. That way it's attached to the right angle. So I know some people don't have these. If I didn't have this, you know, I might have been able to use some other device, but this makes it a lot easier. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and attach this block. Get a little wood glue here. Just kind of help it stay there for a long time. Go ahead and put that right up there. Now I'm using a couple of screws that you usually use as far as putting cabinets together, and but this is basically about all I had, and they're about the right size what I need, so I'm going to go ahead and use them. You can use just about any type of screw. A couple of things you don't want to do is when you drill the pilot holes, put these screws in, don't go all the way through. I've done that before. And then you want to make sure your screws are long enough to get a good bite, but not too long to go through the outside. So, you know, all these things you sometimes you forget about. Okay, there we go. Then get a little towel, wipe off the excess glue. Okay. I'll come along a little later and dab a little green on there to make it match this other side where I put green over those screws. Now it's the little bracket support that you have to install. And you have to measure. I had to measure with a measuring tape, and you know, get it where they say get the right dimensions, where they tell you where to put it, 4 3/8 from inside, and so many an inch and a 16th down. You know, it's a little tedious, but just take your time and measure it out, and then drill your pilot hole. Little screws that come with it. Let's see here. Get it right here. Okay. There we go. And you know, I got this support holding it up. I put this piece of wood in. That's what I held it up before. Sometimes it's kind of hard to do it by yourself. So, but you know, you figure out how to do it. Here we go. Okay, then they tell you how far to come up. It was like 3.5 inches to come up. I made a little mark there where they want you to put the middle part of that support right there. Get it in the middle of that block. Make sure that's about right. Okay. Go ahead and put my mark there. Get my little drill here, drill bit to make me a little pilot hole there. Okay, got that one in there. Once again, I'll drill another pilot hole, and I want to split that block. Okay, let's see if this thing will close. There you go. That makes it a lot nicer. Now you can pull it up, and you can adjust these, how tight they are, and then it comes down and then you slam down. So that's good. Okay, so here's where we come. The rubber meets the road here. You know, when we first talked about this chest isn't good enough shape to try to sell it as a brand new chest. Okay, I mean, I intentionally didn't try to fix everything. There's spots on it, dings on it. Down here, it's missing some. It's been chipped off on the bottom there. So it's got these problems. But what we wanted to start out to do, got a little problem right there in the front, was we were going to sand parts of it down to make it look like it's been scuffed up over time, worn, you know, and sell it kind of like the other chest I showed you. So, I don't know. I mean, I can do that, but I think of what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the boss out here and get her opinion. Sometimes she's right, and sometimes she's not right. But I'm going to get her opinion if I ought to scuff it up, or if she thinks it looks nice enough the way it is. What you don't see in here is I put, let's show, here we go. I took some of this flooring, the vinyl plank flooring, and I cut it and I laid it into the bottom down here, so it's got a nice bottom to it. It's not all rough. I mean, you wouldn't be afraid to put your blankets or sheets down in here. Beforehand, it was all rough and dirty looking, and you know. So now it's nice and clean, and it's got this vinyl plank down, and so it looks good. And I painted the rest of the inside. So that's what decision we got to make. Do we scuff it up, try to make it look older than it is, or do we just leave it like it is with its flaws and see if people like it that way? So I will get the boss, and we'll come up with a decision. I'll be back to let you know what we decide. Okay, we're back. The old chest project here. Well, I had the boss come in, give me her opinion. And because it's so rough looking, now it's, you know, it's hard to see on the camera, but since it was so rough looking, my wife, the boss, decided that it'd probably be best if I distressed it. And so I did some. And it's, once again, let me get it up a little closer here. Maybe you can see. It's hard to see on that camera, but you know, I did a little stress in here, a little up here, you know, on the edges, over here on the, let me get moved around, right here. So it looks like people have grabbed these handles over time, and I've worn some of the paint off right there. See if I can get it around there. You can kind of, I don't know if you can kind of see that on the camera right in there. On this corner here, I kind of roughed it up. Get it back over here. You can see over here, I just did that down this, well, you can't see that corner, but right in here. Just to kind of make it look like it's just kind of been used. You know what I'm saying? She didn't think if we left it all the same color, because it's such, it has so many imperfections in it, that she didn't think it would it'd look good. But if you rough it up in a few places, distress it a few places, then it kind of goes along with the overall condition of it, you know, and makes it a little bit more appealing. And then you just got to figure out how much distressing you do to it. So this is how I do it. Let me get over here. I just take some sandpaper. This is like an 80 grit. I mean, you can use whatever. You can use fine sandpaper if you wanted to. And so let's say we're going to distress it right down. Let me see if I can get that camera down so you can see it a little bit better. Yeah, I guess you can up there. Let's say we're going to distress it right along this bottom here. There's a little imperfection in the wood there, so I just take it, sandpaper, and I just rub on there. And just keep rubbing. You can see it's starting to rub that green away, exposed. Remember that old yellow that was kind of on there? I painted it that gray first, didn't like that look. Went painted a green. I was hoping maybe some of that gray would come out, but it kind of, when the green comes off, it takes kind of the gray off too. But some of that old yellow and red is still kind of down there. So you sand on it as much as you want, you know, as much as you want it to look distressed. Now we're starting to get a lot of that yellow coming through. Now, here's one thing you can do. If you feel like, you know, I don't mind that yellow and red right there so much, but then this other part where you sand and it kind of leaves it kind of, I don't know, kind of light green there. I don't know if I really like that too much. That almost looks kind of fake. So I try to solve that by this process right here. I take my green and get my green on a brush. Let me get my rag. Let's get this rag here. I'll reach over here and get me some green on my brush. And then I just kind of go over all that with this wet paint, almost covering it up like that. And then I take my rag and I just lightly rub that. And what I'm trying to do is still expose the different color there, the red and the yellow, but let this paint kind of cover up the other part that looked a little unreal. And once that dries back, it'll kind of match this, but it'll still leave that area there, the red and the yellow there, where it looks like it was accidentally kicked or over time something rubbed up against it. So that's the way I do it. I know you go to some distressed furniture, like at the antique malls and stuff, and people will take a piece and a new piece. It's a new furniture, but they'll try to give it that distressed look. And sometimes it's so distressed that it looks fake, you know. And some people, I mean, if that's the look you like, then that's fine. But you can tell it was really meant to look that way on purpose. And then this way, what I did here, I tried not to make it look that way. I wanted to kind of make it look like it's just over time some things have happened and it's been rubbed on, or people have grabbed it to different places. Like right up here, people have grabbed this edge to lift it up, and you know, over time it's worn that paint off. That's the look I was looking for. Just a kind of a natural distress instead of a on purpose distress. And so, you know, it's different strokes for different folks. Some people like it no distress at all. Some people like a little distressed on it, a natural look. Some people like that the look where they decided just to do it that way, and there's a lot of distress to it. So, you know, there's not one way is any worse than the other way. It's just what people like and what you think will sell if that's what you're trying to do. So anyway, we're done. It didn't take really too long. I mean, there's a lot of stopping and starting on this one. but it really wasn't a hard project, and it's something anybody can do. And well, I guess this one's going to wrap up here. If you like what I'm doing here on the homestead, you know, I try to do some gardening, raise some chickens and ducks and different things, and do some furniture restoration or painted furniture. Still got a car in there I've got to start working on. But if you like what I'm doing, and I'd ask you please to subscribe, and any comments that you have on something like this, or any questions, you can go ahead and ask those questions or comments. And also, before I leave, I'd like to say happy birthday to a good friend of mine by the name of Klaus. He lives over there in Germany, and he was visited last year over here for about I think it was 3 weeks maybe or something, and we took him around, showed him a little bit of Texas and some things, and we had a good time. So I hope his wife didn't work him too hard this spring, because I know they're probably over there right now getting their garden ready. And so, Klaus, you have a happy birthday. It's May 2nd, I believe, and we'll fly over to Germany and see you pretty soon. So, everybody have a good day. I hope all this crazy virus goes away and we get life back to normal. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.